Okay, this could be your year to be a financial success, to be more financially successful, to be more intentional with your life and your money. Everything that we do on this show when we talk about our money and our life and our goals, I think it's interesting. There is often this kind of undertone to all of the topics that we talk about, and I am joined by Rachelle Kroon and John Pidgeon from This Is Property podcast. There is this undertone of intent, isn't there? Whether it is your career, your health and fitness, your money, your family, relationships, all that stuff, you've got to get back to that bedrock of what are we doing, why are we doing it?
Correct.
Good job, John. Welcome to the new year. And look, so this episode, first of the year, if you are new, welcome to the show. This is more of a encouragement to those who want to get fired up to achieve some goals. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically interview John and Rach, and then I'll share a bit of my story, how I set and achieve goals, how Rach set and achieves goals in her life and also in John's life. So however you cut it and wherever you look, there is fundamental research that has solid evidence that if you set a goal and even write it down and plan it out, you'll have a higher chance of achieving it. So as part of the data, and you can look at this as, I think, broadly aggregate data, but only 8% of people achieve typical goals. So we're talking New Year's resolutions. Oh, I want to eat better. Okay, sure, mate. Like, oh, I'm going to save money. Okay, rightio, heard it all before. You are 42% more likely to achieve a goal if you actually write it down than if you don't do it. So I think a lot of this, and particularly for those in business, there was a Tilburg University experiment with small business workers in Ghana. Setting daily goals boosted production by 16% and increased hourly productivity by 8% and raised average labour output by 13%. So when it comes to setting your goals, when it comes to money or anything in your life, I really believe you need to look at some easy wins that you can implement. So those easy wins that you implement almost do the heavy lifting for you because the time passes anyway, doesn't it, Rach?
It does.
Awesome.
We're on a roll.
We're on a roll. But what we're going to do, we'll get started. Thank you so much for joining us. The first episode of the year. I want you to be a financial success this year. This is how to set and achieve your money goals. My name is Glen James, and this is Money, Money, Money. Before we get into it, this show is general advice only, and I've got a license to provide that advice. Full details can be found in the show notes. I'm a former financial advisor. Now I do the Money, Money, Money podcast. If you're a regular here, we call it M3, and we do a podcast called Retire Right. I've got a book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, is available wherever good books are sold. There's a link in the show notes if you want to turn up your investing to 11 or if you're just getting started. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for being here today. I might start with you, Rach. And we know that there are a lot of different people listening. There's a lot of different people watching. And we all have different chemical makeups for, our proclivity to want to spend every living cent that comes into our life or not take risks or whatnot. Have you got an example of maybe a financial goal that you have set in your life in recent years and how you've gone about achieving that?
Yeah, so when you asked me this just before the show, and I couldn't think of one of myself in the last
You're not supposed to say that because it's showbiz, but sure.
This before, and I couldn't think of one of my own in the last few years. But what I did have, and the first thing that came to my mind was one that I had with my partner, Andy, because we, as you know, we've talked about this a number of times, we've got very different relationships with money, and he does something which I holistically disagree with, which is every time he needs a new car, he just goes and leases a new car. That's just how he's always been. It's what he does. And that time came up about 2 years ago, and he said, it's time for me to upgrade the car. And I challenged him on that and said, how about you don't do that this time? How about you just pay cash? And he said, I don't have the cash sitting around to buy a car. And I said, well, how about you wait and put off this gratification of a new car until you can save it. So we actually sat down and did what I love to do, which is measure out a goal, write it up somewhere. And it's just, I froth over that. He doesn't. But we did a goal that had him reach it was 2 years it was going to be for him to be able to save the amount of money to buy this car. So we had a little bit of money saved, and it was $3,000 a month that he had to put aside. And he had to work out what he was not going to spend to be able to do that. And I know that sounds like a lot of money, but
and I will say, everyone, gloss over the amounts and look at the principles here, because they apply with whatever financial status you're at.
That's right. But for him, that was something that he had to, really try to put away. And it was only 2 months ago now that he bought his new Ford Wildtrak ute. He's very excited about it. But it's the first time he's actually paid cash for a car. And it wasn't about the goal of, I guess measuring that goal, saving it every month, knowing what it had to be. But I think it's how he feels about himself now that he's actually put off that gratification for 18 months and purchased the car. Now, the reason it was 18 months rather than 2 years is because he ended up buying one that was 1 year old because he got impatient rather than buying new. So I think if you'd bought, and we all know that you buy a new car, you drive it off the lot and you lose so much value that first time. But he actually said, well, hang on, if I bought one a year old, I could actually do it now rather than in 6 months' time. But if he was going to finance that car, he just would have jumped in full price and not even thought about it. So he's very proud of himself. And I think it's more his mindset about, I've done that. That's now I'm not going to be a car leaser.
In the background, so we could actually use that example of the car purchase. Insert, we want to go on a holiday overseas, so we need to save cash for it. I think there is such a good feeling of reward that you've done this, and he did it the hard way, and he had to have discipline, had to slow down. And my question is there any thoughts or discussions in your life now that he's done that to set up some ongoing savings into another account as a car fund?
Yeah, well, we did that. We actually set up a separate offset account called Car. Very
car.
Car.
Pretty intense.
Going out on a limb, John. What do you think it's worth? Or what do you think it's for?
Yeah. Could have been vehicle, but no, you went with car.
But I think that's something that he may contribute to down the track, and rather than. But
like 2 years out.
Yeah, but what I do know is that will be the last time. Now, as a family unit, we have a debt other than our mortgages. That will be our last bad debt. We've stamped it out.
My key takeaway from that is the people that influence Andy in his life have changed his course of direction in terms of how he manages his money.
Yeah, and I think it's a mindset thing where people, you do, as your income goes up, so do the people you associate with do things differently, and you go, well, I deserve a new car every certain amount of time, and people finance them without thinking about it. But I think if your income goes up, you also need to change your mindset to go, well, just because I have that disposable cash doesn't mean I need to be spending that on things like car leases.
It's quite amazing as well, because Andy, as much as he probably hates us talking about his life publicly, thank you, Andy.
Because he does listen to most.
I love your work. He's probably more of a this is property type of guy. But the winner here is, like, Andy is a very successful, high-end C-suite executive, right? And without a doubt, he could walk in and buy that $250,000 car, lease it, and you guys get on with your life. And financially doesn't matter. But the winning thing here is, with some help from his better half, has like, well, let's just slow down, bro, and not just do what we've always done to see if we get a different outcome. And I love that with doing this, and this is, I didn't actually want this episode to be about car finance, but here we are. When you look on paper, right, and you look, if someone's got a mortgage and there's offset accounts and all that stuff, when you look at the actual numbers on a spreadsheet, yes, it is potentially financially, and I'll use quote unquote, better to get a car lease over 4 years, because and the psychology of it, as long as you've got a mortgage or a house, everything you spend, you're borrowing. Like the $5 coffee that you had on the way up this morning, John, if you've got a mortgage, you borrow that $5 against the house. Yeah. So what it does with the car, yes, having some finance separate over a 4-year term, we know that it will be paid off in 4 years. The rest of the money is sitting against the house, because usually the car interest rates are the same. But it's actually not about that. And for my own life, and Andy, we get on so well because he's my guy, likes to spend a bit of money. The winning part of saying no, I know that the data in the spreadsheet says getting the car loan, quarantined to 4 years, cash flowing it, all that. And Vince Scully and I have had debates for years about a car loan. It's actually could be seen as financially better, but I personally pay cash for cars because it slows me down. It makes me not get the extra expensive car. And in this instance, as soon as the money was there, Andy got the itch and went, yeah, I'll just grab a second-hand one and save money anyway. So then if you swing that back around and look at the scenario, do you get a 4-year fixed term loan for a brand new car for more money, or do you pay less for a car with cash? Because you've spent less, it actually is now a better decision in the real world. So this is the car thing and car finance. It's such a psychology play. It's so wild.
Yeah, there's so many factors that come into play, like not, I suppose, emotional, but more employee versus business owner, for example. Like Andy as an employee, he goes and takes out a lease. There's no tax benefits or minimal tax benefits.
Minimal.
Whereas you put it through your business, all of a sudden you've got greater tax benefits. So you come from that angle. But then the psyche of, as you mentioned before, I pay cash for it. I've put away my money week after week after week, and bingo, here it is. I've earned that. Blood, sweat and tears. Now it means more to me.
Yeah. And I think with financial success and decisions, so I called it, and it's actually a really crappy way to explain this, but it picked up on MSNBC and all these American websites, my kind of boundary rule, and it's the 1% rule. So an American podcaster who I know mentioned it on his show and it got picked up, and it always pops up every now and again and it confuses people. But with our spending, I say if you wake up one day and you want to buy something, make sure it's under 1% of your annual income, or you have to sleep on it. So, for example, if you earn $100,000 a year, that 1%, $1,000. Don't spend $1,000 without sleeping on it. Now, it's probably a bit ridiculous. For me, it was like, yeah, I'm spendy. I'll just call it 1%. But it goes back to it just allows time between decisions. So to win with money, the bigger the financial decision, the more time that you need between thinking about it and pulling the trigger.
And you've got boundaries, haven't you?
So what that does, it could be, so forget the 1% with our spending, and it's a good rule. Like if you earn $80,000 a year, we're not spending $800 if we haven't thought about it at least overnight.
Yeah.
Because how it initially happened for me back in the day, I went to the city with friends in Sydney, shopping at David Jones, walked out with a $1,100 Apple Watch. Now, that was like over $1,000. One, so there's a few things here. One, it was a lot of money. Two, I didn't wake up that morning wanting to buy an Apple Watch. It was an impulse buy. And three, it was, why did I have access to that much cash on me or in my account? So that's why the systems were set up that I teach. But when it comes to goal setting, and having some boundaries or some financial boundaries in your life. And if you get one thing out of this episode and implement it for this year, you'll be a winner. Like if you said, we as a family meet with your spouse, we don't impulse over $300 without sleeping on it. Because how many times do you go down to Bunnings and you walk out with 15 watering cans and some cloths and a 5-litre Omo washing powder, like all this crap. It's like, hang on, didn't need this.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, and so it's so fascinating your experience with actually retraining Andy and molding him into your ways that he's felt
I was always going to win.
That's right. He's felt a sense of achievement with the goal. I bet the car feels so much better driving around knowing that there's no payments getting towed around with it.
He's worked hard to achieve it.
He's achieved it, and you guys have spent less money.
Yeah.
And maybe if he'd heard that on a podcast or read it in a book or whatever, it didn't have the same level of meaning as someone respected and loved sitting him down saying, right, Andy, maybe we think differently on this one.
Yeah. But yeah, now he loves his new car.
Yeah. And that's it. And that's
And his wife.
Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And we talked last year about, I'm potentially looking at a new car, and at the moment with the EV vehicles, and this is where I have to be strong, Glenn, be strong. I haven't had car finance since 2018, like a long time. I just owned my car because when I had the business and I was driving a lot for work, it actually made sense for what I was doing at the time. And so I'm not against – I used to be really hardline, but I'm not as hardline because I would rather someone win the other battles in their life and, all right, keep your car, keep your 4-year term. Just if you're going to get car finance, 20% deposit into it or at least put some money into it, just please keep it to 4 years. Don't have more than 50% of your household gross income tied up in cars. So if you're as a household, you earn 200 grand, we do not, as an absolute maximum, we do not want more than 100K with stuff, boats, caravans, motors, things that depreciate. So just have some guardrails. So I need to be strong, and this is where the accountability so helps, right? So for you two, last year I said, hey, if I buy a new car before upstairs is renovated, and if it's before February, maybe someone can let us know what I actually said. I thought it was whatever comes first, I'm free to buy a car. So
I think it was February. I think we're going to win.
Yeah. No. So I said if I do that before, I'll donate $5,000 to a charity of their choice, $2,500 each, right? So accountability helps, and that's why it's so important each year that even if you drop in one episode a week or a month and listen to like-minded people on the podcast to keep you encouraged and dialed in. So the accountability that I've set with you two has slowed me down, so I didn't just run out and buy a car. I'm looking in two minds. I'm like, if I get an EV under the luxury car tax threshold, which is like $91,000, the business can own it. There's no fringe benefit tax. It's amazing, no brainer. And then I was like, okay, well, with my business hat on, this is where it gets tough. It's like, yeah, it makes sense in the business to get the car lease and just cash flow it. The money's there anyway. Keep the capital in the bank, blah, blah, blah. It's, FBT free and get on with it. I'm like, nope, I need to slow down and go back to pay with cash. It will slow me down. And I say that as a segue because you keep your cars for at least 4 or 5 years, John, that you do, etc.
Yeah, I think it's understanding that everyone's different and you're not comparing you to someone else, whether it be property, finance, sport, anything. Like it just needs to be what do you want and what do you want longer term, and appreciate that there's got to be sacrifices made for the big ticket items. Like wherever you look, if you set a goal and that's the most important goal to you in your life, the sacrifices to say, well, we can't go and do this and this because that'll impact the long-term goal. So if that goal's strong enough, there's got to be some sacrifices, big or small, that you're prepared to make to reach that goal. And that's the conversations we're having first of all. But then going into the weeds of strategy to say, well, how can we achieve that? And then breaking that down in small bite-sized chunks so it doesn't appear so large. Like it can be overwhelming to put a really big goal out there that you've never achieved before and just keep looking at that big goal, because we often get caught in the clouds to think, oh, it's just too far away, it's not possible. We keep doubting ourselves. A lot of our mindset goes to negative. There's people around us maybe telling us that it's not possible, or you just focus on what you were doing. There's a whole heap of things that are pulling us back. So we need to come back to bite-sized chunks on the way to that big ticket.
I might ask you, because the other day we were talking on the phone, and so this is me like, yeah, John, how are you? And then you said, oh, so so for the goal thing with Strava, I'm like, all right, I got to go. Sorry, got another call. See you, bye. So I don't actually know.
Anything exercise related, he just turns on.
Yeah, so
literally.
I think what were you going to tell me around your epiphany with your own goals in the last 12 months or so?
I don't want to bore everyone that's not into this sort of stuff. Right?
All right, we won't. All right, we'll be back right after this.
So let's go back to 1989.
No,
I was
let's
12.
not. Yeah.
And I started just being
Johnny was
mesmerised by
about being a man,
writing stuff down and saying, right, I want to go and run X amount, and this is the time I want to do it in. And I had this training diary that I just was infatuated by. I just can't wait to fill it in each day, right? And that lasted for 10 years, right? But it then branched out to money, finance, property. Like it became the pillar of I suppose, the discipline required to reach the goal. And so fast forward to now, like I think, and it's a message out there to everyone to say that goals need to be continually refined and enhanced, and you need to be motivated by them. And so when we were in the UK last year on a family trip, like it was literally this time of year, I'm thinking, right, what can I do next year that's going to stimulate me from an exercise sense? Because at that stage, I'm like, I'm not doing any competition. Like I'm training for the sake of it. I want to live a long, healthy life, but I need to have something else. So I jumped on Strava, and a friend was talking about Strava Premium, $100 a year. It gives you a whole heap of data, and for those listening in on Strava Premium, you'll be frothing right now, but everyone else going to sleep. But I looked at these in the three disciplines that I love, swimming, riding, running, and said, right, I'm going to set a kilometre goal for each of these three disciplines for the year, 12-month goal. And it's going to start January 1, still in the UK, and it's going to finish, obviously, December 31. Do the maths. But they need to be goals that that are going to be challenging for me, right? And the cool thing about these targets were on Strava Premium, you can track your progress. So it has a straight line from 0 to your goal, and you can see on a graph whether you're under or over ahead of that.
I'll get you to
or
screenshot
below.
it, and we'll get Sean to overlay it for the YouTubers.
Yeah, cool. So it was like for any of those data nerds or exercise nerds, it was 5,000 Ks of ride, 2,000 K of run, and 150 K of swim. Right. So here
150 kilometres of swimming.
Yeah. Well,
what are you doing laps of the English Channel, are you?
Yeah. So, but that played in the back of my mind, and it goes out of your mind for days, but then you know that you've got this longer goal to try and achieve. But it keeps you honest from the point of view of got to be continually chipping away at it if I want to see this goal. But the most powerful thing about this, the technology's done for me, is that line that was saying I'm under or over it, and most of the time I was under it, behind the goal in relation to the time of the year. I'm like, this is extremely motivating me, to the point where with 6 weeks to go, like my wife's saying to me, you're just obsessed by this thing. Like you can't do things because you've got to go and train to be able to meet these goals. So I think it just, in any area of your life, I wrote 3 things, consistency, meaning, and sacrifice. Right? If you apply those 3 things to anything that you want, I think you're going to, like you mentioned some stats before about writing things down, higher chance of achieving it. But like I think, would you say 8% or something reach their goals?
Yeah, that's
right?
And I think that's around the whole New Year's resolutions thing.
Yeah. So if
that stat was wrong and it was 20%, still quite low.
Still low. That's right. Yeah. So the goal wasn't big enough or meaningful enough to achieve, or it was too far out of reach. Like there's, I think we're talking offline about if we want to achieve something, we can. Right, you've just got to have meaning, and you've got to have that discipline to continue to do it. If we fall short, we maybe need to readjust and say, well, okay, let's make something that's more realistic, part of the whole SMART goal system.
So on that, let's just talk about the SMART goals for completeness, and we're not going to spend too much time there because everyone talks about it, but we'll do that right after this.
If you're after personal financial advice, don't get it from a podcast. But if you want guidance tailored to your situation, head to moneypodcast.com.au and click Get Help. We'll connect you with one of our trusted professionals, financial advisors and mortgage brokers, who work with people right across Australia. No matter where you are, they can help. Now, before we get back to the show, a quick reminder to protect your financial life. That means having income protection sorted. It means having death cover if there's any debt or dependents relying on you. It means getting your personal insurance in order. Most people insure their car, they insure their house, but what about themselves? Sky Wealth, who support this podcast, are specialist financial advisors who can help you get the right cover in place. Their advice is often more comprehensive and better value than going direct through your super. Book a complimentary 15-minute chat at sky.com.au. That's skye.com.au. And they'll point you in the right direction.
Okay, SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable.
Yep.
Realistic. Is that it?
Relevant.
Relevant, sorry. Well, relevant, realistic. Yep. Time bound. I think it's a good framework to start, but in my first book, Sort Your Money Out, do you remember how I talked about goals? And I called them SMART yo goals. So I think one thing that we need to do, we actually need to make them your goals and have an order. And the reason I say that is, your spouse or partner, you could be nagging them, Rach, for years about car finance. No, joking. You could be nagging your spouse or partner, I need you to exercise. I want you to live longer. I need you to lose weight. That will never happen until it becomes their goal. You might have someone, you need to buy an investment property from the mum or the dad, or you're not going to do it until you actually own the goal. It's yours. There's residence. Like it's the horse to water thing. You've got to do that. And then I say order because it's very important when we talk about financial, and we'll overlay the sound financial house on the screen. For those who have known my teaching for years, I talk about building your financial life in the right order. Much like we'd build a house, we need solid foundations, there's a slab, there's goals that we want, and then investing as the roof. Now, you might want to start and have a banging share portfolio, but if you've got credit card debt, well, don't have that as a goal. I need you to do things in the right order. So that's kind of my shtick when it comes to goal setting. The order is important. One thing I want to ask both of you about is we talked about mindset and our natural proclivity briefly. I'm not the type of person that can have 3 different savings accounts and I'll put $100 in that one for the holiday, $100 in that one for the car, $100 in that one for the new lounge. My type of personality is very much focused intensity on the one thing. And then we order them out and smash it and move on. Yeah. Smash it and move on. Do you have a view on multiple things at once?
I know that I've worked with a lot of clients that are trying to get rid of debt.
Yes.
And I always think it's better to pick a debt that you want to get rid of and smash that out. And it's the psychology of it. It's the fact that I've got this little one here and it might not be the highest interest, but it's the smallest one, even though it might be financially make more sense to go for this bigger one first. Take the bite-sized chunk, take your easy wins.
Yeah, win the behaviour battle.
Win the behaviour battle. And then as soon as you knock that one out, you feel that, that was easier than I thought. Now let's go to the next one. But I think if you tried to pay off all 3 debts at the same time, it's harder.
You're just treading water
that's
for too long.
the same sort of thing. Just like with any of those goals, like John's goal with the running. You know, as soon as you find yourself falling behind the line, it pushes you to go. If that didn't have a time-bound measurement, you wouldn't be cancelling plans to get out and get your swim done.
And I've been saying it for a while lately. Like the time passes anyway, and you meet people. They're like, and it's recently been graduation season, and people. Mature-aged people graduating university, I just did that degree part-time over 5 years or something like that. Like at the start, with a busy life 5 years ago, you were like, I don't have the time to do this. It's gonna take 5 years. The time's going to pass anyway. I was at a 40th birthday at the end of last year and it was late and a few of the friends had a bit of tipple and we're sitting around and we're geeing one of the older friends up in the group. Like, what advice have you got for Chriso, being 40 now? Thinking he was going to have some drunken slur. And he basically said, and he's 45, the time just goes so fast the older you get. That was his advice, be very present on the speed of which time passes. So the time's passing anyway. Why not jump in on the time train and let time do the heavy lifting? And but what I mean by that, slowly just saving, slowly doing a few Ks a day, slowly, training your husband.
It's consistency and
that's probably the word. It's consistency over the long term.
Yeah.
You will achieve what you set out to.
Yeah, if you stick at it. Yeah. If you don't, that's where everyone fails. People that fail have stopped trying. Right, it's as simple as that, isn't it?
Or they went too restrictive. You see, money goals, and it's aligned with all different goals. They shouldn't be restrictive, because if you restrict yourself too much, you will fail, and then you'll feel that failure of I didn't do that, and you'll just go, that didn't work. But if the money goal just needs to be intentional, not restrictive, and then you will have a better success rate.
I think it needs to lean into your personality as well.
Yeah.
Like what's going to motivate you from internal, because if it's an external thing, like my friend's doing it or I read something that says I should be doing it, that's going to wane, isn't it? Whereas internal, I'm motivated by the end result or the physical property or the car or the amount in the bank balance. It's got to be an internal drive that you really want.
And I think for those who are maybe like me, I know like attracts like, so there might be some loose people listening to me because they understand my shtick. I haven't really, in a personal sense, had any goals. Well, and this is all my kind of goal planning is so internalized that, so we renovated the studio and the office last year within the business. I just made it my priority. My reason for living is to only do that at the moment. We're not hiring new staff. We're not, doing anything else. That is the reason for living. And for whatever reason, and I don't subscribe to manifesting, quote unquote. Do you? Do Do you want to fight? We'll have a fight about that. But what it is you get results with what you put attention to. That's all it is. Do you want to know why manifesting doesn't work?
Why?
Because I don't see many people manifesting solving world hunger.
Yeah, okay.
You like that one?
I like that.
Yes. So, but what they
But
do.
there is an attraction somewhere that makes it happen.
But what they do is they have it so internal that, I need to manifest this new car. All you're thinking about 25/8 is how to get this new car, and maybe subconsciously, I'm not spending $100 on dinner this weekend because I'm so focused on saving for the new car, and that will come sooner. So
Yeah, well, I mean, goals.
I'll debate anyone on manifesting, but it's not magic crap. It's you're focusing on something in your life, and you will get results with what you pay attention to.
And generally, your goals, majority of what you're doing is in your control, right? I can save this amount of money, or I can train this amount, I can do whatever. It at the end of the day, it comes back to you.
Yeah.
World hunger, a lot of things out of our control. So 100%. I think it's not whether it manifests. I'm not into positive or negative. I don't know, but if it's what you can control is the key with any sort of.
I just think the manifesting thing. I always bite. I don't know why.
And
It's
maybe
like it becomes
manifesting's not the
selfish.
right word.
It becomes very selfish very fast. That type of thought, I think.
I think any goal is selfish. It's for you, right? You've said it.
Yes, but if you talk about, in the Glen James Reset, if you want to do an online course where it's free, just Google the Glen James Reset, and I basically go through a whole heap of this stuff, and it's a free online course, and I'll give you some practical tools to download and whatnot. Yes and no, because I would encourage people to have couple goals and individual goals. So it's selfish for the couple.
Correct.
Yeah, but what if there's a goal we want to – I was actually literally texting someone just yesterday. They text me and gave me a thanks. There was a listener of ours who won the $30 million.
Right.
And we're going to do an episode soon with Martin McGrath, their financial advisor, of how he sets stuff up. The text doesn't matter, but, their goal now is how do we use this money for good? And I've sent them some charities. and that is probably an outlier to your question, but yeah, I don't think they have to be selfish. My goal could be I want to build up this business enough so I have a scholarship where I can pay for someone to do an investing course or something.
Yeah, but it's yourself that is creating that.
Yes.
It's your business that it is for you. So I'm not saying selfish in a negative way. I'm just saying
fact.
the goal needs to be for self.
Right?
But that goes back to your goal, like the smart yo goal.
Yeah.
It needs to be yours. It needs to resonate.
Yeah, and I think we can go the other way and say, well, I'm that unselfish that I don't achieve my own goals, right? And that has its downfalls as well.
You see it so much with mums that they always put themselves last
Yeah.
and they put their whole families first, so their goals don't get met. But when they start to focus on themselves, everybody wins.
Everyone wins, correct. Yeah.
So I think back to where I was talking about in my life, it has been if I want something, I just focus all my attention and effort to it, and it kind of happens. The risk there, and I've said this with my own type of personality with budgeting, I know I can get the outcome, but if I really lean in, you can optimize it and even get a better outcome. So and get it sooner. So that's the challenge. And with our team, we now, for the first time ever in the business, each month I share with the team the business income. And we've got a goal for YouTube ad revenue. Now, on the scheme of things, the YouTube ad revenue, it's not a big amount in the business. Like it might be $4,000 or $5,000 a month. I mean, I'll take it. It's free money. We're working hard. But we had a goal at the start of the year. I want to try and do 3 months ongoing with at least $1,000 because the amounts weren't the thing. It was the goal. Let's try and get this $1,000 every month from YouTube ads. and the whole team works on that part of the business, and we're putting energy behind it, and now it's at least $4,000 a month. So, and it's been really good for the team so I think what I'm saying for the business owners there, number one, listen to the podcast, This Is Business. It's also on YouTube. For the business owners out there, while it might not be your natural shtick to have detailed written goals, it's been of benefit for my team to see the income and to have a goal, because at least it's something we can all gather around.
And does everybody in your team have the ability to impact that particular part of the business?
Well, we all work on the YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
So from Ryan and I here in the studio, when we record this content and produce it and do all that, gets uploaded. Sean, there's a full episode there of our background production, but Sean will go through and edit it, audio and video. Then Josh and Jess will go in and clip it up to split up the clips for YouTube. And then Rachel will also glitch check. So she will listen and make sure so most things that go out, they have been listened to by someone else just to pick up glitches. We don't get it right all the time, and then Rach and or Jess will upload it, and Josh will do the thumbnails for it. So it is a full team thing. It's one part of the business where the whole team is involved in it.
Yeah.
So it's Josh doing those thumbnails.
Yeah. John.
Someone commented that, Josh, you didn't do Rachel any favours on that thumbnail.
Somebody said to me,
Just
who
tell
have
him.
you hurt
Yeah.
in
Josh,
Glenn's team?
sort out the thumb dogs. Yeah, so I don't know. What I would probably encourage everyone to do kind of in finishing this start of the year attaboy, attagirl episode, what's something that financially you are not happy with in your life? Because sometimes when you talk about purpose in life, it could be like, what actually keeps you up at night that you cannot stand? It could be, I hate injustice of kittens getting left on the side of the road. All right, volunteer at the cat shelter. Like, a lot of the time, look at the stuff that really grinds you. So what in your life are you not happy with financially? And that could be, my emergency fund isn't where it should be. I'm spending too much on Uber Eats. I'm not saving enough. I'm tight ass and won't get income protection. Look at something that annoys you and try and list even one or two things only to start with.
Yeah, no, good call. It's got to mean something to you that gets you out the door to be able to action it. And I think one thing that we haven't really spoken about is prioritizing it in your life, but maybe even diarising it. So you're blocking it out in your day, time spent on that particular goal, and nothing's going to take the place of that. Again, if it's high enough in the priority order, we've got to dedicate our time, so we block that out.
Even like on the financial side, because I'm ordering a lot of my dinners and lunches from Activate, and they deliver up here from the coast. Since I do a weekly food order, and on the surface, right, peeps, it's actually could be seen as expensive to buy and have meals delivered. Like if it's $13, $14 per meal once it's delivered, right? But over the last 6 months, my weekly spend automatic category that I transfer out of my cash hub to my spending account, for the first time ever, I've dropped that $50. So I'm spending more on the food, quote unquote. This kind of goes back to the car thing where you look on paper, like everyone will always at me in the comments, like you need to get the cheapest index fund in the world and you need to get the cheapest brokerage account, don't use a custodian. Like there is this thing with, it makes sense on paper in the spreadsheet, but when it's out there in the field, come at me. I'm spending more on my food, but on balance, I'm saving $50 a week because the underlying thing there is planning and organisation.
And you might have spent that extra $50 at the supermarket.
Well,
or
if
wherever.
you drop in and do the shop and what I've also done to stop spending, I cannot tell you the last time I went and did groceries at the supermarket. If I'm down here on a Saturday or Sunday, because I don't have a life and I work a lot, I will come down here, put an order in for the week on Woolworths and get it delivered out here. I'm spending more. I'm paying $15, or I think I get $10 delivery because I pay the member thing.
Premium.
But because I'm not going into the shops, and I've even kind of fallen on my sword and just get them to pick the apples for me, and they're half all right. Because half the time, remember, they give you the fruit. I think they've actually improved. Yeah, I know. No, go with me. But all that to say, because I've changed my life and become more planned, and on each of those little things, sure, on the spreadsheet, why are you doing Woolworths delivery? It costs them to deliver. Why are you doing pre-made food? It costs more. Out there in the wild, Glenny J is now spending $50 a week less overall.
To win.
Yeah, come at me.
That's the goal.
So it's not about investing fees, is it?
No.
Because if you get the outcome out there in the wild, shut up.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of us, we need to get out of the spreadsheets with our financial goals and into the behavior. I'll encourage everyone, once a year, read Atomic Habits by James Clear. We'll put a link below. You've got to make the goal of everything you're doing the habit.
You do you as long as it works.
Giddy up, baby. Final comments and thoughts on this whole goal thing.
I think January is an amazing time to set annual goals. And I think if everyone spends some time actually just sitting down and planning what's important, it's a perfect time to reset and actually just do measurable, clear goals.
Yeah. John?
Good. Yeah. Look, I think it's got to be for you. It just so happens that everyone does it in January. It doesn't have to be January,
No.
but I think it's just setting goals with purpose, not just because someone else has got someone. It's got to be purposeful for you.
Yeah, and I'll finish on by saying something different just for the spice and colour in the episode. We talk about SMART goals, we talk about YO goals. So all those acronyms, specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable, whatever, realistic, time-bound, yours, and order. You know, there is one thing that is missing from all of that.
Visual?
Yeah, well, specific, measurable might need to be. I'll cut to the chase because I think I started talking about it before, but I didn't land the point. It's the accountability. Who are you walking through this with? If I didn't have the accountability of me setting the goal of not buying a car, I probably would already have one.
You would.
Now, with the
Probably you would have.
Shut up. Oh, and if you are new and I told John to shut up, it's okay. We're chill.
Yeah, that's right. If it's a $100 Strava premium, or it's buddy
or you listen to this podcast once a month or
whatever
in the Facebook group, the accountability piece, or find a coworker, a friend, a family member. And we talked about making sure we keep on track. What if you set a monthly lunch coffee with your work friend? Let's just sit down. We don't have to share figures. We can go, look, I managed to save 5% more this month. The accountability is what you get the results with fitness, with, you know, maybe a personal trainer, a coach for sport, because you can't tell me the best tennis player in the world's coach is better than the best tennis player in the world, but it's the accountability and seeing things from a different angle. So it's the accountability, it's the vibe, John.
Yeah, it is a vibe.
Yeah.
And
totally.
if you need someone to tell you not to get that car lease, then Rachel will hit you in the eyes with it.
Yeah, and often the accountability to stop you doing something with money will either stop you spending it completely or slow you down and you'll end up spending less. So my challenge to everyone as we go into this year, pick one thing. Remember, Atomic Habits, give that a read at the start of the year. I like to read it yearly. The Glen James Reset, if you want an online course, just how to reset and set these goals as downloadable things, all the stuff we've talked about. If you want to start investing this year, the Quick Start Guide to Investing is now an award-winning book. We won Book of the Year 2025 for the Business Book Awards for personal finance, and overall book. John's got a detailed book called the Sort Your Property Out and Build Your Future.
Yes.
It's very much for those who are looking to invest and very detailed and technical. And then later on this year, Rach and I are releasing the Quick Start Guide to Your First Property. So look, plenty of resources in our corner. If you found this beneficial, please either watch it again, listen to it again, or share it with a friend or family member. My name's Glen James, joined by
Rachelle Kroon.
and
John Pidgeon.
we'll see you soon. Bye.
Any advice is general financial advice only, which does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Because of that, you should consider if the advice is appropriate to you and your needs before acting on the information. If you do choose to buy a financial product, read the Product Disclosure Statement, PDS, and Target Market Determination, TMD, and obtain appropriate financial advice tailored to your needs. Simo Interactive Pty Ltd, the publisher of this podcast, and Glen James are authorised representatives of Money Sherpa Pty Ltd, which holds financial services license 451289. Opinions or comments from any guests on the podcast are theirs and not those of the host or the publisher or their respective license holders.